Okay, funny story or not so funny story, depending on how you look at it. Today we're supposed to talk about thriving in career and communication. And I kid you not, the last hour has been a huge lesson in my heart and my mind about thriving in career and communication. And not the easy kind of lesson that feels good. It's been a conversation about who am I really when the camera's not on? What am I really excited about and passionate about? And how do I communicate that to the people that are around me the most? I just got through a conversation with my husband. And in the last video, I was sharing about how Kyra Santos, who I interviewed for the session called Thriving in Career and Communication, talked all about the reality of partnership between your spouse and supporting each other and being able to talk about anything under the sun. And I am continually being challenged to do those things. And it's not easy. I am not a great communicator when it comes to communicating my feelings, my emotions, without getting defensive or without losing it. Or just like, it's hard for me to just have a conversation with my husband. I can do it with anybody else, or so I like to think. And so right before the conversation that I just had, I was texting my best friend, who you've heard about before in some of these videos. And I said, friendly reminder, we're PMSing. So an incredible amount of grace for our hearts and minds. She's going through a pretty difficult time herself right now. And I didn't realize that I would be needing to receive those words for myself in the moments that followed. There's a different level of receiving kindness, receiving criticism, which is very healthy, and receiving something that's hard to hear from someone that you love a lot. There's a different level of that when there's hormones and emotions that are heightened in our lives as wives. And I really just wanted to share in that solidarity. That's not what I planned on talking about for this session recap, and we're still going to talk about the resources that were a part of the worksheet because they're so valuable. But the reality is communication is hard, and I'm not that good at it, and today has been extra tiring. And I like to come on here and be really excited and joyful and optimistic, and I am not that way all the time. So really, there is hope at the end of the day, at the end of every hard conversation, at the end of everything that you might not want to hear about yourself. There's so much hope when we allow the space to reimagine and really reinvent. But it takes a lot of humility. And humility usually comes through humiliation, which doesn't feel good. So as much as I would love to be able to tell you exactly how to thrive in your career and communication, what I can really say instead of that is one step at a time. There's so much grace because nobody can do it perfectly. And we're full of sin and selfishness and human nature. And that's hard to reconcile. It's hard to reconcile within our own minds and hearts. And it's even harder to reconcile when you're trying to communicate about it to somebody that you live with on a daily basis. And then while you're juggling all the other things that happen on a day-to-day basis in life. So if you feel like you might be failing, you're not alone, and there's a lot of hope. With that being said, I want to share some of the resources that we added to the worksheet of the Thriving in Career and Communication session at Simulate Summit. Some of them I happen to have on my bookshelf, so I'll share them, and then the other ones, well, all of them will be linked in the show notes or in the description below, so make sure to check them out. The first one is this, Rise of the Truth Teller by a friend of mine, Ashley Abercrombie. She's a friend because we've connected over social media, not because we've ever met in person, but because I've been on a few of her 2 book launch teams, and we connect as much as we can and every once in a while. But this is a book about owning your story and telling it like it is and living with holy gumption. And Kyra in her session talked about how the courage to step into something new made a big difference in the way that she communicated with her husband and in the way that they started to thrive in their careers. And I think the beginning is owning our stories. And so this is a really encouraging resource. The other thing Kyra talked about was having a morning devotion that she starts from every morning and that she shifts her perspective based on as she reads. She shared hers, and I wanted to share one that a friend gifted me and that I've been going through by Paul David Tripp. I don't even know if you're going to see this backwards or not. Perhaps you are. But it's called New Morning Mercies, a daily gospel devotional. And so good, so encouraging, and not the kind of encouraging that makes you feel like really good, but the kind of encouraging, like I was just talking about, that challenges you to be transformed. And usually transformation is not like a fun process, but it's very necessary. And so even just a page a day in here, and then the scripture verses that it guides you to will lead you to that. Then another resource, Who Switched Off Your Brain? Solving the Mystery of He Said, She Said by Dr. Carolyn Leaf. Anything by Dr. Carolyn Leaf will blow your mind, and not just because she is a neurosurgeon, and so she literally will talk about how to reshape your thought patterns and habits and how those things will shape our day-to-day life and decisions, but because she just unlocks so many different foundational truths about how we form habits and how our thought patterns are created and how there's a possibility to change it, but we have to kind of break through a lot of the lies and a lot of the walls and a lot of the misconceptions that we have formed for a bunch of different reasons before we can get to turning our brain on to the way that it was supposed to be and to the way that we can healthfully communicate with others and thrive in those spaces. There's a couple other books that were in the resource list that I wanted to mention, and again, the links will be down in the description below. One is called Indistractable. It's a book I listened to on Audible recently, and it's How to Control Your Attention and Choose Your Life by Nir Eyal. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right, but a great book, again, on how to stay focused. And if we're looking for ways to thrive in career communication, we know that focus is huge. I am the most distracted person you might ever meet. I mean, that's exaggerating, but I need a lot of help in that area every day. And so that book was encouraging. It had a lot of really practical things that I could put into practice. Keyword, put into practice. There's a couple more resources. One is called Stronger Together. It's a book by Terry and Rebecca King Cruz. So Terry Cruz, you guys probably will recognize that name. AGT, actor, all the things. And he and his wife recently published a book, and it was actually really encouraging. And as I was reading it, I was thinking, oh my gosh, yeah, that's what we were talking about at Stimulate Summit. Oh yeah, this is what the journey's really like. And so it was an encouraging book, and it's called How Fame, Failure, and Faith Transformed Our Lives. Stronger Together. There's another website I wanted to share with you guys, especially when it comes to the thriving in career and communication, the relational side of leadership, and that is Wild Leaders. Again, I'll link the description in the show notes or in the description below. And that is by Dr. Rob McKenna, and he talks about how to be whole, intentional leaders. And there are so many great resources on their site about leadership development, and they host weekly wild conversations that are free to join. You can check all of that out on their website. Okay, this got kind of long. I didn't expect it to be this long, but I really wanted to share those resources with you and share the reality that, of course, on the night that I would be talking about communication, I would have a hard time communicating myself and have to do the things that I said will make for good communication, which is talk about the hard things, the things that you're struggling with, and look inward a little bit. And I'm not there yet. Oh my gosh. I'm on the journey right alongside all of you. So let's do it together. That's what it's about. If you need somebody to share a journey with, DM me wherever you can find, wherever you'd like to hang out, on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or here on YouTube or on the podcast, Invited Back with Sabbath Kapahu. Let's journey together. And don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. It helps the algorithm, and it helps me and all of us be able to journey together with all of the people that need to be reminded they're not alone. Okay, until next time, aloha.